Hi everybody, Dana Litwin here again, and welcome back to Tuesday Tips for Leaders of Volunteers. This week, talking about specific recruitment for multilingual or bilingual volunteers. We're not necessarily stating that English is the default language of the languages that someone speaks. You may be with an organization that's primarily Spanish speaking or different Chinese dialects, for example, but just talking about how to find language skills in your volunteer talent pool and community overall to expand the community outreach efforts, to build on trust and community partnerships and relationships, and also to just get some great skills into the volunteer and staff talent set. So the first thing you want to think about is, why are you recruiting specifically for volunteers that speak multiple languages? Well, the easiest answer to that is you want to reflect and can be able to easily communicate with the full diversity of cultural backgrounds and languages in the communities that you're serving and working with, especially around volunteer or donor recruitment. The other thing that you want to think about is, how does this attach to specific metrics of a program or strategic pillars or goals that volunteer activities are tied into for the organization? So this might be outreach efforts, it might be external affairs efforts, it might be some special program and partnership that you want to set up with specific language speaking communities or backgrounds. But have those goals in mind and have those be communicated really clearly in the recruitment efforts, not just, Cantonese speaking volunteers needed, Spanish speaking volunteers needed. Make it more specific than that, and what that goal is. That is it conversational? Does it have to be like professional legalese level of fluency, or can it be a basic conversational fluency that someone can do presentations in and answer questions in with some comfort in their own language ability? If you don't think that you have anyone who speaks those languages in your volunteer or staff talent pool, well, it never hurts to ask. You might be pleasantly surprised. Sometimes people have language skills that they don't think apply to the work they're doing with you, but they're native speakers, or they've got some fluency, or they did a tour of that country for a college break or something that gives them some lived experience with that culture and language. So ask amongst yourselves, and if you have not already, put into volunteer applications or any other kind of onboarding paperwork that you have with volunteers a field where they can answer if they do speak languages. So if you're primarily communicating and base your work in English, say, do you speak any languages other than English? If you're primarily working with Spanish speakers, do you speak any languages other than Spanish, including indigenous language? All of that is really useful information to have, and great to know that that talent exists. And even check with board members or some major donors or other advocates if they're not in a formal position. It's always good to see who speaks these languages that you're already connected to. If you still don't have that many people or enough people or any at all that speak this language, then start to do some genuine, long-term, intentional, mindful community outreach to faith groups that are in those communities speaking that language, to any kind of neighborhood associations, community groups, to libraries. Public libraries that are set in those areas may have a lot of staff or their own volunteers that speak the languages you're looking for. Reach out and make those genuine connections. We don't want it to be, hey, I need something from you, give it to us. We want it to be a mutually beneficial partnership, program, participation, where it doesn't feel like it's exploiting or extracting something, that it's a genuinely mutually beneficial relationship that you're setting up in the long term, even if the language needs are part of a short-term goal. You can also check in with different colleges and universities and language tracks, or grad students or majors. You can do that as a recruitment resource as well, if that's not yet in your recruitment toolkit. And of course, I also recommend the Is Everyone Welcome? Speaking of free toolkits, that's now on Idealist. I'll put a link to that below so that you can not just assess how you want to approach this, but have some cultural competency around it as well. And if you are recruiting for that language, make sure that there's a warm welcome and a soft landing onboarding volunteers or even new staff or board members who are native speakers or fluent speakers of that language, so that there might need to be a cultural competency workshop or webinar or in-service training for all hands to understand, we're doing this program, we're doing this outreach, and here here's how we can create a warm welcome to people who are from this cultural background, if it's different than your own, and how to kind of understand that. So ideally, you've got some native speakers, representatives from the community that can partner with or participate with or sign off on the kind of training that you're doing. But once you've got all of that set up, one of my favorite things to do for cultural competency and showing off the language skills is for public events, make a little card that's an identifying card that says, hi, my name is, I speak this language, and have it written in that language. So is it written in Chinese simple text or basic text? Is it, even if it's Cantonese or Mandarin or Taiwanese or some other dialect? Is it written in Spanish? Is it written in Thai? Is it written in Hindi? So whatever that language is, particularly if it's different than the Roman or Latin English alphabet, make sure that that's written on the card, and that makes it very, very easy and convenient for members of the public, potential volunteers especially, to say, they literally speak my language. That's great. I've had some excellent luck, again, just getting surprised by what language skills people have as volunteers, especially if veterans have ever been stationed around the world. They may have picked up some language skills that aren't the highest, most popular languages spoken in your area, but it could be useful to have to do outreach to people who are newer to the community and are looking for someone to trust and someone to have just a basic human understanding of their situations. Also outreach to different media companies that operate in those languages. So there's usually TV stations, radio stations, print media, maybe online media. That's another area to either do co-recruitment. Many radio stations offer nonprofits free PSAs, public service announcements, so you should be able to work that out, do maybe a free 30-second spot with one of their anchors just reading copy in language saying, hey, we're looking for people who speak Tagalog, we're looking for people who speak Vietnamese, whatever the case may be, that you can get that out into the world to the audience that you're hoping to recruit more volunteers from. I hope you enjoyed these Tuesday tips. Please like this video and share it if you got some value out of it, and also subscribe if you're not yet part of the Cool Kids Club. Hit that little alert bell to know when I have new Tuesday tips up, and more new priceless advice is coming with many fantastic guests in 2026. See you later. Have a good rest of the week.